you doing? Exhausted? Ready for food? What are we going to do? We're going to talk about writing. We're going to discuss what writing is and why communicative writing is so important. We're going to have a look at how we, the teachers, can support communicative writing. We're going to have a look at feedback. We're going to have a look at resources. And finally, my colleague, Aniela, who can't be with us today, she's recorded a short video, which I'll show right at the end, and it will bring us into the lunch break. So, let's start with the clicker. A little 3-2-1 activity. Do you know what 3-2-1 is? Anybody seen it before? Really nice little activity that you can use to start a lesson or to finish a lesson. Obviously, the way we're doing it today is for teachers, but you can easily use this with your students in the classroom. So first of all, and this is a thinking activity, so no need to say anything, no need to write anything. I'd just like you to think of 3 things that you know about communicative writing, or 3 words that come into your head about communicative writing. And because we're very short of time, you've got 20 seconds to think. 20 seconds. And there's no right or wrong answers. Okay, time's up. Let's have some shout-outs. What do you know about communicative writing? Tell me something you know about communicative writing. There's nothing right or wrong. You know nothing. I don't believe you. Okay, let me give you some help. Message. Some of you are nodding. Yeah, you were thinking that, weren't you? Just too frightened to shout it out. Come on, help me. Yes, gentleman there. Yes, it needs to convey a well-defined message. Good. What else? Sorry? Accuracy is one element. Yes, not the only element, but it is one element. Anybody over here? Communicative writing, what do we know? Sorry? I can't see who's talking. Oh, yeah, register. Yeah, and by register we mean? Okay, so is it formal? Is it informal? Good, very good. And one more thing. Yes, we need an audience, don't we? Yeah, and the audience is the person or the people who read and who are going to receive what? The message, yeah, which has been clearly conveyed. Okay, good. So that's our 3. Let's move on to 2. 2 challenges that you face in teaching communicative writing, and you've got 20 seconds to think. Go. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Again, no right or wrong answers. Time's up. Challenges? Who's that? Say again, sorry. The appropriate layout. By layout, you mean? The structure. Yeah, what it actually looks like, the organization and the structure. Nice one, good. What else? Okay, so the language which the writing contains needs to be engaging. It needs to have a hook, doesn't it? Good, yeah. What else? Yeah, and it's a challenge, isn't it? Particularly with teenagers. What interests teenagers? Social media. It's probably quite limited, isn't it? What actually interests them. It's not their fault. It's because they're young and they haven't experienced the things that we've experienced. So when we say that students don't have imagination, it's actually not their fault. It's the fact that they haven't had an opportunity to experience things. Yeah. Yes, and we heard that, didn't we, from my colleague Anne, right at the beginning. She talked about attention span with looking at visuals and how short the attention span is. So if it doesn't get you immediately, you're likely to move on. Okay, and my number 1, and you have 10 seconds. one question you have about teaching communicative writing. 10 seconds to think of a question or two. Time's up. Questions? Yeah, how can you help students who don't like writing to actually like writing? I think we might have an answer to that. Good. Another question. Yes, madam. I'll tell you what, after lunch, I'm doing a session on using AI. So I think we'll get the answer to that if you come after lunch. I'd love to see you there. Anybody else? What questions do we have? Yes, sir. That's a good one, isn't it? How do we get students to maintain coherence? Yeah? How can we help them to make it logic? I wish we had more time because we could spend a lot of time going through all the questions. I said to you that you can use this in the classroom as a way to introduce a lesson. Imagine you're starting a new unit, a new topic. You could say to your students, I want you to think of 3 words that you already know about this topic. They can discuss it, they could write it. And then I want you now to give me 2 words that you know in Romanian that you'd like to know in English connected with this topic. And finally, 1 word that you're not sure about. So you can use it, a nice little introduction to a new topic. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so why is written communication important? I don't know where I should be pointing this up. Okay, the Cambridge Life Competencies Framework, which is our framework of 21st century skills, if you like, or soft skills, where we have researched critical thinking and creative thinking, collaboration, communication, and so on and so forth. We have this to say about communication. So if we want to use writing as a way to achieve something in life, we need to make sure that in the classroom we're helping students to develop not just writing skills, but communicative writing skills. Because if our students can write effectively in a communicative way, look what it allows them to do. They can access more information, opportunities, and develop relationships. But only if, I'm going to go back to the gentleman here, because you said earlier that one of the key things about communicative writing is, can you remember? Yeah, before that. I can remember, but you can't. The gentleman said, yes, who said that? Yeah, the message needs to be clear, and that involves coherency and all of the things that you mentioned. So the written English that we see around us, and if you like, delete the word English and put Romanian or Japanese or Arabic or any language. It's the same for all languages. Written language in the real world exists as part of a text. Some are long, some are short, but the important thing, in bold at the end, they all make sense in the context within which we're using them. So a question for you to think about, what is it that we're asking our students to write? Are we asking our students to write similar real-world texts, or are we asking them to write something different? You don't need to answer, just have that ticking away. And I think the answer, certainly for me, and I suspect for many in the room, the answer is that often we're asking our students to write something different. In other words, something which is not a real-world type of text. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, because it provides good practice and it provides good experience. But if a student needs to get ready for an examination, for example, for a Cambridge qualification like B2 or C1 or whatever, then what we need to try and do is to make the writing task as communicative as possible. And we need to do that by giving it a purpose, we need to give it a reader, we need to give it a context, and so on and so forth. Because if we can provide all of those things, then the writing will become more effective and communicative. Remember that the reader in the classroom is who? Who's the reader in the classroom, usually? The teacher. The teacher. Okay, we may get students to peer read, but they're probably looking at their phones or not particularly interested. Yeah, so that can be a problem. But students know, don't they, that actually the real reader is going to be probably the teacher or indeed the examiner. But course books do try, we do try in our course books to provide students with a context, with an audience, with a purpose, with a rationale to do the reading, to do the writing. And we've got an example here from Prepare. Anybody use Prepare? Yeah, quite a few of you. Okay, good. So you'll know that this is very familiar. And what we're trying to do in the course books is to provide students with that real world context. Philip Kerr, who you may have come across in your travels, that Philip Kerr does a lot of work with Cambridge as a writer and a trainer. And he wrote a paper which actually is referring to speaking practice. How much time should we give to speaking practice? But I think when you read it, you'll realize it's exactly the same for writing. Yeah, the point that he's making. If we don't give our students opportunities to reuse and interconnect language, the language they've studied in the course book, and what's missing at this point is in a real world context and situation, their knowledge about language may never become the ability to actually use it. So we've got to give students opportunities to do this communicative, real-world type of writing. Because if they're just doing mechanical types of writing, which is okay up to a point, but if we're not giving the opportunities to use language, recycled language in a more real-world approach, then they're never going to be able to use it. So how can we actually teach it, and how can we support communicative writing? Well, I'm going to show you three, I never know what to call them, approaches, I guess, to teaching writing. I'm sure you're familiar with them, but it gives us an opportunity to look at them in a bit more detail and to discuss them. So we're going to have three ideas for writing activities, and I want you now to take off what? Take off your teacher hats and to put on your student hats. And as we talk about these three activities, I want you to think about the positives and the negatives from a learner's point of view. So we're going to look at something called free writing, we're going to look at something called writing based on a model text, and we're going to look at a writing activity called building from sentences. So when I show you what they are, I'd like you just to turn to your partner for about 30 seconds and just tell your partner, in the role of students, remember, what do you think are the positives about this writing activity, and what are the negatives? In other words, what do you like and what don't you like about it, if your teacher were to give it to you? Okay, so let's obviously start with number one, free writing. What happens in free writing? Well, the teacher is asking the students to write an account of a difficult journey. Students, you can write anything that you want about the topic. You can write individual words, you can write phrases, you can write sentences. If you wish, you can even draw a picture about your difficult journey. I don't care if you make spelling mistakes. I'm not interested in the accuracy of your grammar. I just want you to do what it says on the screen. Okay, students? Right. Turn to your partner, twos, threes, whatever you're in. I'll give you about 45 seconds only. Tell each other what you like and don't like about this writing activity from the student's perspective. Okay, lots of noise, please, as you talk. Okay, time's up. Time's up. We're going to do the 3 activities and then we'll do some feedback. Okay, so here's the second one. The second one is model text. So, here's a text from a course book, and the text is called A Difficult Journey. So what do I want you to do, students? I want you to write a paragraph about your own difficult journey, and I want you to include key language from the model text. Okay? 60 seconds. Talk to your partner. What do you like? What don't you like about that writing activity? Even the boys? I have a problem with the parents. I think it's brilliant. Right, time's up for that one. So we've looked at free writing, we've looked at model text. Now the third one is called building. So once again, have a look and then tell your partner what you like and don't like. So, building. Expand and build on the sentences to create a text. My difficult journey began 2 years ago. My family and I went to ... To make things worse, the weather was ... Finally, we decided the best thing to do was ... So, about 60 seconds, tell your partner positives and negatives. And time's up, time's up, time's up. Okay, so let's get a little bit of feedback from you and find out, as students, what you think the positives and the negatives were of those 3 approaches to writing. So if the teacher said to you, I want you to do some free writing following the guidelines I gave you, tell me any positives that you thought of. What did you like about it? Yes, a couple of hands at the back. Yeah.
There is no bar. The bar is very low.
The bar is very low. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, the bar is very low. Nice one to start with. Anybody else? You didn't like it? No? Okay, we'll come to the nose in a minute. Anybody like it? Yes, what did you like? Okay, allows the student to use all of their creativity. Good. Yeah, anything else? Yes, hand up there. Yes, nice one. So you can come up with your own ideas, you can be creative. The bar is very low. Anything else? Anything else? Yes, madam. Yeah, pretty much, as long as you stay on the topic. But yeah, you can put down pretty much anything you like. Has anybody got a mixed ability class? No? Yeah, of course you have. So, of course it can work on any level, because every child can be successful in their writing. Those that are struggling can just write words. The confident ones can write phrases. Yeah, so different students can be successful at different levels. As the gentleman at the back said at the beginning, it sets the bar quite low. Okay, just a couple of comments from me. Things that you've actually mentioned about creativity. Maybe there's a transference of enjoyment from first language to second language, and students can write the kinds of things that they're actually interested in. Okay, we didn't get a lot of positives, so what are the negatives then? I'm expecting loads of negatives. Yes?
If you have too much freedom, it's very hard to choose what you want to do, and you waste your time doing nothing.
That's brilliant. Can you say that again with the microphone?
So if you have too much freedom, you don't know what to actually do, and as a student, it's very difficult to choose, and you waste like 20 minutes doing nothing.
Hopefully not, but that's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah? Students need structure, they need guidance. Yeah? So maybe for some types of students, not all, this doesn't actually provide enough support. Yeah.
Not very specific. We do not know exactly the time frame, the specific vocabulary, what are you targeting. We don't know whether it can be a metaphorical journey or a physical one. There are a lot of things which are unclear, and me as a student, I don't get the why. Why should I like to write about this?
Okay, so a little bit similar to this one, more structure is needed. Do remember, with number 1, at which point in the writing process would you do this? I can hear towards the end, I'm doing rising intonation because I'm not sure I agree with you. Sorry, again? Okay, but in terms of the actual writing, yeah, so it's actually probably going to happen at the beginning, isn't it? Is this the outcome? No. This is what it's brainstorming, isn't it? It's basically get your ideas down on paper. So it's just an approach to brainstorming and starting that first part of the writing process. So one of the big things we've heard is there's not enough structure. Anything else you didn't like? What else didn't you like about this one? Yes, that's a nice comment. Yes, students will default to the things that they already know. Okay, good. So there may be a lack of motivation, particularly for students who don't like writing in their first language. They may feel a lack of motivation to do this in their second language. We've talked about lack of ideas, and there may be a transference of inaccuracy from one language to another. Okay. What's happening? Okay, the model text. What did you like? Okay, there's actually a structure there. Yep. So it's something to hold on to. What else? It gives you the language, it gives you the vocabulary, so you've got that scaffolding as well. What else did you like? Yes, madam. Yeah, there's definitely guidance there. Good. What else? I think you just want to eat your lunch, don't you? You're giving me a very hard time. What else did you like? Yeah. You know what to expect. Let me ask you a question. How do we learn anything in life? By copying. So why is every single Cambridge course book full of model texts? Because we know that by providing learners with a model, that's the best scaffolding, it's the best support that we can give our learners to help them become more effective writers. Okay, so obviously it gives you an example. You can show them the useful language in context. And of course, very importantly, there's a strong link to reading skills. What didn't you like? Not that text, no, but the approach. You like it. Of course you do. If you say you don't like it, we've got a problem at Cambridge. Oh, the lady's saying that as a student you can be lazy and you can just copy it. Okay, but of course the idea with the model text is not to copy, is it? The idea is to use elements of it to guide your own writing. Yeah, okay. But I think there is an issue of it could mean less creativity. And in some ways, it actually takes more time because a student has to engage with the text and understand what you're looking for. And I've also put there is the issue of copying, but hopefully if you hit them hard enough with your stick, then they won't do that. Right, how are we doing for time? Oh my goodness. Okay, building from sentences. What did you like? Loads of things you liked. You liked what? Okay, I'll just tell you what you liked. At low levels, obviously students are writing less. But that's good, isn't it? With your mixed ability classes, sentence beginners, bless you, sentence beginners, sentence stems are a brilliant way of supporting students, particularly at low levels. Remember also, it's easier to write a sentence than it is to write a complete text. But I think that's also a possible disadvantage. Learners may not connect everything together. Very quickly, quick show of hands now. Put your teacher hats back on. Which of the three activities did you like the most? Number one, the free writing. Goodness me. Some over here. Okay, not very. Two, the model text. Kath, we need to change our publishing. And number three, the sentence stems. Okay, I think model text is just about one. Yeah, phew. Okay. Oops. I've given you the first one because I love you. So in order to support writing, what do we need to do as teachers? First of all, we need to give our students context. They need to understand what it is that they're writing about, where they're writing it, who they're writing it, and so on and so forth. So what we need to do is to elicit the context, clarify the context so they understand. And then, number two, we need to give students a what? A model, to read and follow. Whether you like it or not, they're going to get a model. Then, we need to set tasks that give students what? Begins with A. AU. Not many words in English beginning with AU. Audience. Yeah, they need to have an audience, so they need to know who they're writing to because that impacts on the language that they choose. Provide support with useful, begins with P. PH. Phrases. Oh, sorry. Or. Yeah, I think that should say and, not or. Give students some ideas about what to write. So, do we do this in our course books? Of course we do. So here's an example, another example from Prepare. You can see the context. You can see the model text. You can see the audience. You can see phrases and vocabulary. And you can see ideas. So course books do this. Course books provide the support that students need, but also, of course, the support that we need because we're the ones teaching the students to be better writers. Okay. Obviously, if students are doing writing, we need to give them feedback. So what is good feedback? I don't even think I've got time to do this. No, we haven't got time, sorry. I'm just going to tell you or ask you a question. Is this good feedback? No? Okay. Is it feedback? Yes. Is it good feedback? Because it doesn't tell the students anything except 3 out of 10. So if I tell you you're 3 out of 10, what's that student going to think about herself? Everything is bad, I'm a failure, I hate English, I hate my teacher, I'm going to go and learn Japanese instead. What about A+? Here's A+. How do you feel? Great. What was the second word? Perfect. But if I'm perfect, I don't need to learn anything, so I'm going to switch off. Yeah? So I think all of these are different types of feedback, but the important question we need to ask ourselves is how effective are they in helping students to become better writers? Professor Dylan Williams says this, it's brilliant. Have a look at this. So instead of feedback telling us what the student has done, feedback should really be about where does the student go next. So this week you got 3 out of 10. Next week we're going to get 5 out of 10. And let's talk about how you can get there. What do you need to do as a learner to go from 3 to 5? And maybe part of that could be talking to your friend who got A+. Maybe she can help you to move from 3 to 5. Okay, do you want to watch a video before lunch? Yeah, okay. I'm going to show you 3 very short clips of Professor John Hattie from the University of Melbourne talking about feedback and giving feedback to students and the impact that it has on students. Now, just to keep you engaged, and so you don't think about your rumbling tummies, I'm going to ask you a question for each of the 3 clips, and you need to answer the question, okay? It's easy peasy, except he's Australian. He's got a very strong Australian accent, and he speaks quite quickly. But your teacher colleagues in Brasov and Turgu Muresh all managed to answer the questions. Challenge set, okay? Right, hopefully the audio works. Here we go with the first clip. Yes.
Well, one of the things that I certainly have made a mistake in my life when I've asked about what are the purposes of feedback is I've seen it in terms of the information we give to students to help them in that progression. I made a mistake many years ago in writing an article saying all we need is lots of feedback. It turns out that's not the case at all. It turns out that the biggest issue with feedback is how much of it is received.
How much of it is actually received? Yeah? So you tell students, you tell them about their work, you give them feedback on their productive skills and even their receptive skills, but how much is actually going in? Is it going in and coming out? Or is it going in and is it sticking? Okay? So you could understand him quite well, I think, yeah? All right, second clip, second question. What's the problem with only giving group feedback? And you can probably guess the answer to this before you listen to him, but here we go for the second clip.
Teachers actually can give a lot of feedback, but we also know that when the teacher gives the feedback to the whole class, every student knows it's not about me.
Students know it's not about me. That's the problem with group feedback. He's not saying don't do it, but if you give group feedback, students also need to get individual feedback. Okay, third clip, 2 questions. What's important when we give feedback to students? And secondly, and this seems a bit weird, but what's the right answer? He's actually going to say the right answer is, so you need to be listening for what he says. Okay, here we go, last clip.
Certainly most kids receive seconds of feedback a day. And again, reminding us that kids are human. And I am a stunningly good selective listener. They also are very good selective listeners. And so one of the things we really wanted to focus on is pausing and asking the students, what did you understand when I said this, when I gave you this kind of feedback? What's your interpretation? And so the first thing we want to worry about very much is what feedback is received by the student. Do they get that feedback correct? Do they get it and they use it? Like we know, for example, at university students, of all the things they do in rating our courses, they rate us usually pretty high, they're quite generous, except for feedback. And the mistake many institutions do is they then ask how you increase the feedback. Wrong answer. The right answer is how do you increase, from the student's perspective, feedback about where to next, and how do you understand how they're interpreting the feedback? Because you could write another 10 pages, it may not be received.
So what's important when we give feedback to students? Sorry? How much is received? Were you going to say the same? Yeah. We need to understand how much is actually received. So what do we need to do when we're giving feedback to students? We need to stop. We need to ask them questions. We need to listen, yeah, to what their response is about the feedback that we're giving them. So what's the right answer? To look forward with our feedback. In other words, how do you increase the feedback about what to do next? Not feedback on you made this error, and that's wrong, that's in the wrong place. No, that's no good. That's not going to help students. You're just going to demotivate them. We need to give them feedback on how to move from 3 to 4 and then to 5. So remember what Dylan Williams said, it is that the feedback needs to move the student forward, not to push them down. Ooh, that's not me. Help! I think he's gone to lunch. Thank you. So, good feedback needs to be 3 things, really, in the red boxes at the top. The first thing that good feedback needs to be is clear. And what do we mean by clear? It means that it needs to include examples. We need to show students, identify what the issue is. And remember, we're not just talking about error here, we're also talking about what's good. We need to give students feedback on what they're doing well so that they can develop that and use it again. So clarity means including examples, and let's keep it short, particularly with younger students, because obviously they can't take on the language load. Yeah, so keep it clear and keep it short. Secondly, it needs to be focused. Feedback needs to focus on whatever the objective was. It's very easy, isn't it, to give feedback on lots and lots of different things which have got nothing to do with what the actual objective was. So make sure that feedback focuses on the particular aim and the most important and relevant points that you wanted included. And third box, feedback needs to be what and what. It needs to be P and, oh, I've forgotten the second one. C, P and C. Did you say personal? Yeah, that's not my P, but I do agree with you. It needs to be personal, but I have a different P. P-O. Positive, yeah? Positive and C? Constructive, brilliant. It needs to be positive and it needs to be constructive. And by constructive, we mean helping the student to move forward, not digging them deeper into the hole. So, if we want feedback to really work in action, there's a simplified cycle on the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over on the right, you can see 4 student behaviors. Obviously, they're jumbled up. You have to match 1, 2, 3, 4 with A, B, C, D. In the interest of time, I'm just going to show you, because we're running out of time very quickly. What happens, first of all? The learner receives feedback. Learners receive feedback all the time. It could just be a nod, a smile, or it could be well done. There are many ways that students receive feedback, not just from the teacher, of course, but from each other in the classroom as well. And as a result of the feedback, what do? They engage with it. Ah, so I was right, so I'm going to use that again. Oh, I forgot. The verb to be is irregular. I can't say beed or wased. Yeah, I have to say was. Students do this all the time. So they engage with the feedback and they understand their learning changes and they modify their knowledge. And as a result of modifying their knowledge, they improve their language production, and the cycle goes on. If you don't manage to get a picture, you'll obviously get a copy of this after the conference. Right, very quickly, because I know we're coming up to lunchtime. How can Cambridge support you? Well, if you're working with Cambridge qualifications and you're assessing student writing, we have these wonderful guides for teachers, which are all available, of course, free to download. In the bottom left under the picture, you can see the URL, but basically go to cambridgeenglish.org and just search for what you want. But these guides, if you look in the top right of your screen, the contents, you get all of the terminology helping you to understand the exam and how to assess, sample tasks and extra resources, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Loads of stuff there for you. A great platform, you might have heard of it, Write and Improve, 100% free for students. There is a paid-for version, but that's a classroom version. But Write and Improve allows your students to input their writing, and they receive immediate feedback on their writing performance with a common European framework grading. And then they have an opportunity to rewrite and resubmit. I thought we'd do the whole thing again. God, that was a joke laugh. Obviously not a very good joke. I'm not going to do it all again, don't worry. But these are reflections, yeah? Take these away over lunch. When you're bored over lunch, you can be thinking of 3 things that you now know about communicative writing that you didn't know at the beginning, or maybe 10 things. You can also tell your friends what you're going to do on Monday, as Des mentioned. And if you've still got a question, I will be here the rest of the day, and you're very welcome to come and find me. Okay. My colleague Aniela, who cannot be here today, very kindly has produced a short video which she would love you to watch before you run out of the door. So if you wouldn't mind, wrong way. There she is in all her glory. Ooh, come on.
Dear teachers, I'm here just to tell you how sorry I am I can't be with you this year for the fabulous Fischer conference, the kickoff of the new school year, and to congratulate you on your hard work in 2024-2025, and wish you good luck in 2025-26. As usual, I'm also going to give you some updates about Cambridge, what's new and not so new, in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to tell you a bit about new exams, new official preparation materials. Recognition is not new, but it's always worth reinforcing it. How to become a Cambridge Preparation Center, again, not new, but I think everybody should hear me. And just a bit of information about teaching qualifications. So new things from Cambridge this year, okay? Cambridge English Qualifications Digital. We've already started organizing Cambridge English Qualification Digital for young learners, for Pre-1 starters and A1 movers. Then when it comes to the multi-level tests, we've got Cambridge English Skills Tests, very, very interesting product, and Lingua Skill, also interesting. So let's start. You know that we've got exams all aligned to the requirements in the CFR. And the new thing is that we've got Pre-1 starters and A1 movers as a new toy for children. They can learn English, prepare for a Cambridge exams, and then take the English exam digitally as they love. We've got Cambridge English Qualification Digital for Pre-1 starters and A1 movers, bringing digital adventure to young learner exams. Then, when it comes to books, new books, please talk to Fischer staff and ask them about the new authentic digital practice tests. We've always wanted more and more tests. Now we've got more and more tests. Then when it comes to something not so new, but at the same time new, it's Cambridge One. Please make an account with us, Cambridge One, you'll find there resources, free of charge sometimes. Sometimes you just need to purchase students' books in order to get an activation code. You sometimes get here free of charge training. Sometimes you have to, if you're interested, you may purchase it. But Cambridge One is a key word in 2026, the new school year. Then when it comes to recognition, you see that nothing has changed. We've got A1 movers, or A2 flyers, one or another or both, may help you. May help your students get into the 5th grade if they want to study in an intensive English class. That A2 key has remained the minimum level accepted for 9th graders in intensive and bilingual classes, and B1 preliminary is still the minimum requirement to get the baccalaureate linguistic competence exam replaced according to the ruling legislation. Of course, there are many things that I could add about recognition, but if you're curious, please contact me, please. Then when it comes to becoming a preparation center, you can still become a Cambridge preparation center if you register one candidate. If you've registered 50 candidates, you'll get a certificate. If you register one candidate, you'll get the logo, but you can register one candidate and become a Cambridge preparation center. Then we've also got in our loyalty scheme schools that can register more than 250 candidates. They've got 3 years of loyalty of registrations and 3 exams, 3 Cambridge exams. They're called Gold. And I'm happy to tell you that this year we've got a bit more than 20 such centers. And then you may also dream big, and if you register 1,500 candidates and you also purchase 3,000 books, you can be a Cambridge English partner. I am also happy to let you know that in Romania this year we've got 2 such partners. Now, you need to work with an authorized exam center in order to become a Cambridge preparation center. In Romania, there are 4 now. Please contact them. If you've got children you've been preparing for a while, if they are ready for the exam, contact the exam center and ask them to register your candidates and to help you to become a Cambridge preparation center. Then when it comes to becoming a better version of yourselves, I know you're great, but we can also become better every day. Well, I always speak warm-heartedly about CELTA, TKT, and Delta. You can take them all in Romania. Please check some details or contact me about each and every Cambridge English teaching qualifications, and I'll support you in Romania. We've got 2 centers that can help you with your CELTA, for example, and Delta. Now, when it comes to what I can do, what I will be able to do for you in the next new school year, well, I can support you with parents' presentations, students' presentations. I can attend award ceremonies for goal preparation centers, or I can just make videos like this one to congratulate you on your great results so that you can use those videos in order to grow your prestige and in order to grow the number of the students that are willing to learn English with you. This is me. You will get my very short presentation, so you'll get my contact details shortly. And I can't say goodbye without saying thank you. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, Fischer and friends. Thank you, Kath, for attending the Fischer conference this year. Kath is my line manager. Thank you, Anne, for presenting and supporting teachers in Romania for so many years. Thank you, Peter, for always aiding teachers in Romania to become their better version. Thank you all. Good luck and enjoy the conference.
Oh, and a huge thank you to Aniela.